Hello, this is my Pickleball work in progress demo video. While I work on finishing the back end of the app and publishing it to the App Store, I wanted to show off what I've built so far. The front end of this app is built in React Native using Expo, and while it was my first time using React Native, I've worked for the past year in normal React, so it's pretty simple to learn. So we're starting here in the logged in home screen, what a user would see when they sign in, assuming they've been using the app already. At the top, we have our user's name, their profile pic, and their overall contribution score, which I can explain later. If you tap on this header, it expands to show more stats and a sign out button, which we will come back to. Beneath that header, we have these game cards, each card representing a finished game of pickleball. We can see the date, the score, and who is on each team. We can see Tanjiro has played 4 games with his friends so far, and is overall 2-2 on his pickleball season. Clicking on a game card will take us to the game stats screen, where we can see a breakdown of players' contributions. These numbers and bars will make more sense if we start with a new game, so let's do that. If we hit rematch, the app will start a new game with the same teams, but we can also start a new game by clicking home, then new game at the bottom. That brings us here to this team assignment screen. Tanjiro, being the logged in user, is pre-filled. We can then search for our friends in these other fields. When the front end is connected to our back end, these fields will query for the user by name from the database, but for now they search our placeholder data. Hitting next takes us to the serve selection screen, and we can pick who is serving and who is receiving first. We're then brought to the scorekeeping screen, and this is where things get fun. If you've ever played pickleball, you know that keeping score and keeping track of who is serving and on what side can be confusing for beginners. So getting the app to track that correctly required some puzzly logic. But on top of that, I also wanted to track players' contributions. As in tennis, a point in pickleball can end in 2 ways. Someone has control of the shot but makes a mistake, which is an unforced error, or someone forces someone else to make a mistake, which is a forced error. And we won't get into the specifics of that, but if a player forces an error, you track it with the green plus. If a player commits an unforced error, you track it with the red minus. The internal logic will track the score and serve order. So we'll hit a bunch of random buttons to simulate the game, and we can also undo and reset, or end game when we are finished. Now we're back to the game details screen, where we can see the score up top and each player's contribution. The green bars represent when that player forced an error, and the red bars are unforced errors. The darker sections of each bar show the ratio of each that led to an actual point for either your team or the other team. And that's it. These games would be saved ideally to our database, and then they will show up in the home screen when the app is finished. So we'll return home, tap the header bar, and we can sign out, taking us to the login and the sign up screens. So the backend uses Mongo for its database and Apollo and Graphql to handle queries and mutations. And so far the hardest part has been learning those backend technologies and learning how to connect them to the front end. But I'm excited to continue working on it and present a finished app soon.